What's going on, sci-fi fans? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for a brand new episode here on our Sci-Fi Wednesdays General Grievous figure by Bandai. Today we're going to go ahead and move on with this model kit. I want to go ahead and do some work there on the wires, want to paint them up so they are mostly invisible, paint up the lightsaber blades as well with some clear blue and some clear green. And then I want to go ahead and start working on the final weathering and of course the base, get this thing looking a little bit more ominous. Now the base itself is going to be starting off here with just a basic unfinished shadow box. This should be perfect to go ahead and place Grievous somewhere in the middle, kind of maybe off-center just a little bit to give it some visual interest. And I want to go ahead and create some form of rocky, deserty, sandy type of base. I think it's going to be a really cool look, plus with Grievous and all his lightsabers, very reminiscent of the movie Revenge of the Sith when he was dueling with Kenobi. So that's what I'm going for here. And I think I've got a couple of ideas on how to do that. But I'm going to have to go ahead and make some rocks and some landscape features. Now that I'm going to go ahead and try something a little different. I'm going to try some of this pink foam. I'm going to go ahead and shred up some of these and it tears into nice little chunks and you can make those look pretty rock-like. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. Also, quite a while ago, I ended up casting some of these rocks out of clear resin. And I've got a nice assortment of those. I was just kind of playing around with resin and I've got these sitting here, so I might as well use them and put them in different positions and get this thing looking a bit more rocky, kind of a rugged, rough terrain. So we're going to see how that works out. I actually got these molds from Joe over at Mad Genius. He didn't want them, he gave them over to me, and I've put them to good use so far, and I'll probably use them in the future. In fact, check this out. He went ahead and gave me not one, but 3 different rock molds. So that is awesome. Plus plaster tint in gray and in brown, as well as some static grass of different sizes and lengths, and some ballast. So that is awesome. We got brown and we got gray. So that's going to work perfectly for this operation. Can't wait to go ahead and give it a try. So let's go ahead and jump into our very first time lapse. And I want to go ahead and start working on the base, kind of figure out where I want Grievous to stand, start adding in those rocks, really kind of mock it up to see what we can go ahead and accomplish with what we have in our stash. I also want to go ahead and start painting up those wires on Grievous so that they are fairly invisible. We're going to use some Tamiya flat black for that. And then, yeah, I think we will be good to go ahead and start working on this, get this thing glued together, and well, fingers crossed, we'll get something that looks kind of cool. So let's go ahead and jump on in there, guys. Let's start building us a base. All right, everybody. So we are back. We're taking a real quick break here because I've got half of Grievous's base more or less set and ready to go, but I want to go and let that glue dry just a little bit more. And I thought, wouldn't it be kind of cool to add in some greeblies onto the base? And what better greebly to do than some form of clone trooper helmet? I thought it'd be kind of cool to see what I could figure out with that. And luckily in the stash, I do have the Bandai 1/12 scale Clone Trooper model kit, and it comes with 2 different helmets. The Phase 1, which is my personal favorite, and then Phase 2, which would be a bit more accurate to this particular scene. So I'm going to go ahead and build up the Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet, and we're going to see maybe we can use that as a little bit of some greebly action there somewhere on the base. Not to mention it'll give it a bit more visual interest because it is fairly stark white. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with that. Let's build up that helmet and then let's get back onto the base, finish gluing all the rocks down, and check it out. right, everybody, we are back, and this is what our base looks like right now. As you can see, we've got our wooden shadow box with our resin rocks, real rocks I pulled out of the garden, and of course our pink foam that we kind of tore into chunks and pieces to look like jagged rocks. Not too shabby, not perfect, mind you, but not too bad. So now I want to go ahead and mix up some dirt, and we're going to use some plaster of Paris with a little bit of our plaster tint that we got from Joe. This is that earthen color, so that should be perfectly fine. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and mix 2 parts plaster of Paris with 1 part of water. If I have any left over, I can go ahead and use some of those rock molds and make a couple extra. Nothing wrong with that. So we're going to put 2 parts of our plaster of Paris in there. Then I'll go ahead and add in our liquid, but I'm going to go ahead and supplement half the liquid with our tint. The rest of it will then be filled up with water. So I think that's going to be just fine. That way we don't get it too watery, but also it's not too thick. We're going to get hopefully a nice little mixture with this. So go ahead and fill up the rest of this with some water and then just dump it in, and we can go ahead and mix it on up. Now I've used plaster of Paris one other time to make a runway base, and that worked out really well. Had a lot of fun using it. So let's hope it works out for this application as well. This will help to seal the foam, seal the wood. I think we'll be ready to rock for primer, paint, and all that good stuff. I'll go ahead and use a popsicle stick to go ahead and mix everything up, get this a nice smooth consistency. Then I will be able to go ahead and apply it to the base using a large brush. So let's go ahead and jump back into the time lapse, go ahead and do a little bit of repair here and there on some of the wooden areas, but make sure to get everything nicely overcoated with our mixture. That should be it. It'll give us a nice base coat to go ahead and work from. We can go ahead and prime and paint, add in all our little ballast and whatnot, get this thing looking a little bit more like a desert rocky scene. Let's go ahead and jump in there, guys. Let's push on. Let's see what we can do. Alright, so far so good. As you can see here, we've got all of our rocks nicely overcoated with our mixture of plaster of Paris. We've got our different colored ballast on there, and we've added in some tile grout to give it a bit of some sandy appearance here and there. So now let's go ahead and jump over to the spray booth. Let's go ahead and prime the entire base, and then we'll start on with some painting. Do a couple of different brown earthen colors and see what we can do. Alright everybody, we are back and we have finished off our base. It's actually looking pretty sweet. I like how this has turned out so far, so check it out. Here we go. As you can see, we've got our surround painted black. Might need one additional coat. It's looking a little bit thin here and there, but we do have our hole in the back drilled out for our switch, so that is ready to go. Had to do a little bit of repair on that as well because I actually pushed through and pulled some of the wood out, but this does fit right up inside there, so that is perfect. And of course, the top of it is overcoated with a few different colors: flat brown, earthen brown, and also buff for some of the highlights. Then we went ahead and weathered it down with a rust wash, which is unusual, I know, but it does give it a really nice kind of a dark, kind of a reddy hue to it. And then we went ahead and overcoated it with a nice wash by Vallejo. So this is looking pretty sweet. Now for Grievous, I ended up overcoating him with a flat coat, just use some Winsor Newton matte varnish. So that's going to give us something a little bit better to bite into for additional weathering. We also went ahead and painted our blue lightsabers and green lightsabers with our clear colors. Those worked great. Absolutely love how that's turned out. And I think at this point, all we have to do is do a little bit of touch up here and there, and then add in a little bit more weathering on Grievous, touch up a little bit here on the wires to make sure we don't really see those, and then we can attach him to the base. So that should be next episode. Should be pretty fun. Just to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek here, let's go ahead and wire him up to the battery pack. And I have a vision of him going right around here, kind of canted off to the side. And as you can see with the lightsabers on, he looks pretty cool. I love it. I think this is going to be an awesome project. And these green lightsabers look a lot more green with the paint on. They don't look so yellow, so that is excellent. Like I said though, next episode we'll go ahead and get him mounted, get this all finished up. We do have to go ahead and poke 2 holes down, one each below his feet, to go ahead and pull those wires through to attach to our battery pack, but that shouldn't be all that difficult to do. And yeah, I think we're almost done. Of course, once this is all set up, we'll drop our helmet in here, maybe add a couple other parts and pieces here and there, and I think we'll be ready to go ahead and call this one quits. So until our next episode, guys, thank you so much for joining us. You know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Next week, episode 6 should hopefully be the finale, and we'll get Grievous all wrapped up and ready for the display case. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.